The idea of a podcast has been rolling around inside my head for a couple of years. Um, Talking and all that kind of stuff is something that comes natural to me. I'm actually pretty good at it, and I tend to have an opinion about everything that's floating around in this world. So to decide to finally start to pursue it was something that just recently we decided to do. Well, then I had to find somebody to do it with me. Although I can talk and I can carry on a conversation, it's not as much fun when you're sitting in a room by yourself, which is how Daniel and I, who have known each other for many years, got together on this and decided to see if we could make it come to life.
So, doing a podcast, I've done one before, and I hadn't really enjoyed doing it. And Jeremy called me and said, "Hey, let's do a podcast." And I said, "Well, what kind of podcast you want to do?" So we went through some ideas, and finally realized no certain plan, just multi-funny, different guests. And so far, we've had hockey players, NFL players, college football players, baseball players, a pastor, which I really enjoyed that one. I'm a youth pastor. We decided that, hey, this would be fun to do. It's been fun. I'd love to see it keep growing. And, just some different things, some different ideas coming up. I think we got a really cool thing going on. I really just like the idea that it's just whatever. We're going to talk to people of all parts of the world, all parts of life, and we've got some very interesting ones coming up, and I think it's going to be fun to do. So one thing a lot of people don't know about me, I'm really introverted. So I hate talking to people at first, which is crazy being a youth pastor, being in ministry, dealing with high schoolers, middle schoolers. But once I start talking, I won't shut up. And I like just talking. I like talking about anything. That's another thing about the podcast is sports, politics, religion, talk about different topics, something for everybody. If I like baseball, just tune in next week and hear something totally different. We don't keep it level, what we're going to talk about.
So once the decision's made you're going to pursue this idea of a podcast, then you got to make a decision on what's it going to be about. And with Daniel and I, we share a lot of the same interest with sports and politics and just current things that are going on in the country to our faith. And so it actually was fairly easy to start to put the content of this podcast together. I think one of my goals for it, as I sat around and I got to thinking about it, on the internet right now, if you stick a bucket on your head and walk off a bridge, you become viral all of a sudden. So it's a matter of doing something stupid to get people's attention. And I just refuse to do that. We want to have fun. I want to laugh a lot. Humor's a big thing to me and a big part of my life. And but I'm not willing to sell out, so to speak, to make that happen. So we want this podcast, or I do, I think Daniel would agree, to be something that you can put on with your whole family in the car. You don't have to worry about somebody saying anything stupid or offending your wife or embarrassing your kids or anything like that. And at the end of the day, you've learned something, or we've added a little bit to your life for that hour that you've listened to us. And I think that's the main goal of this whole podcast.
So I've come to White Pine 9 years ago. I'm the youth pastor at First Baptist Church. I've loved it ever since I've been here. It's been great. Just been great working with the youth, working with the church, being in ministry.
In 1989, as barely 18 years old, I left Knoxville, Tennessee for San Antonio, Texas to start wasn't sure if it'd be a career at the time or what it would be, but my time with the United States Air Force. And it proved to be one of the best decisions that I've ever made in my life. I'm not a college kind of guy. One of the things that you'll find out as you listen to the podcast, Daniel and I are both very conservative in our beliefs and our thoughts, and also our love for this country and our patriotism, I hope, shines through during the episodes that it pertains to. So about 18 years ago, my wife and I moved to White Pine, and it was a big change. I mean, it didn't come from a huge city in Knoxville, but it was a lot bigger than White Pine. I think now we've got 3,500, 4,000 people within the city limits, and Jefferson County is a rural county, but I just can't imagine living anywhere else. I mean, you can see the mountains back there. We've got a beautiful view up here. The people are great, and no matter what, I just can't ever see us moving out of White Pine. As the podcast, I don't know what my idea of success is with this podcast. I haven't gotten that far yet, but I'm hoping that people find it enjoyable and return episode after episode, and we'll just see where this thing ends up.
What am I talking about? I'm Daniel Overton. I'm Daniel Overton.
I'm Jeremy Sellers, and this is Think Like a Man.